The girl in the glass. The space station was quiet. Too quiet. No lights, no sound. It floated in the dark, far from any planet, like a ghost ship. Eli stepped inside, holding his flashlight. He was alone. His boots made soft echoes on the metal floor. Dust covered everything. The air smelled old. This place is dead, he whispered to himself. Eli was a salvager, a man who searched abandoned places in space for old tech. But this station felt different. It didn't feel dead. It felt ... waiting. He walked through broken doors and long halls. Everything was damaged. Control panels were smashed. Walls had marks, like something had tried to escape. He entered a large room and stopped. In the middle of the room stood a glass chamber. Tall, cold, clear. Inside it was a girl. She looked about 16. She floated in blue light, eyes closed, like she was sleeping. Her hair waved softly around her face, even though there was no wind. Eli blinked. What the hell? She was wearing a white suit, thin and tight like a second skin. Strange glowing lines moved on her arms, like soft blue veins. He stepped closer. There were no wires, no machines keeping her alive. Yet she looked perfect, not dead, not old, just frozen in time. Eli looked at a control panel near the chamber. It was completely destroyed. Who are you? He asked quietly. Suddenly, the girl's eyes opened. Eli jumped back. She didn't move, but her eyes followed him. Bright, silver eyes. They didn't blink. His heart raced. Was she awake, alive? Then he heard something. A voice, but not out loud. Inside his head. Please help me. He stepped back, breathing hard. What the... Again, the voice came, soft and broken. Don't leave me, please. Eli looked around. The station was silent. Only her eyes were alive. He slowly moved closer to the glass. His hand touched it. It was cold. She looked right at him. No fear, no anger, just sadness. He checked the edges of the chamber. No buttons, no locks. Just smooth alien glass. Then a strange thing happened. The glass cracked. Not from his hand. Not from pressure. It cracked. On its own, a long thin line, like lightning, ran across the chamber. Eli jumped back again. Okay, that's not normal. Suddenly, lights in the room flickered. Machines, long dead, blinked for a second, then went dark again. She was doing this. Somehow, she floated forward, slowly pressing her hand against the glass. Eli looked into her eyes. They were begging him. He whispered, "Were you left here? Locked away?" The girl nodded, barely moving her head. Then, the voice returned in his mind. Stronger now. They made me. Then they feared me. Then they locked me away. Eli felt a chill run down his back. How long have you been here? I don't remember. Years, maybe more. I stopped counting. Eli swallowed. This wasn't just old tech. This was something ... alive. Something forgotten. The glass cracked. Again. Louder this time. The blue light inside the chamber began to flicker. Small sparks danced across the girl's skin, but she didn't move. Can I get you out? Eli asked. Yes, but if you open it, they will know. Who's they? No answer. The air suddenly felt heavy, like the station was watching him now. Eli looked at her again. She wasn't begging anymore. She was waiting. He thought for a long second. He could walk away. Pretend he saw nothing. Call the authorities. Sell the story. Make money. Or he could open the glass. He reached out again and pressed his palm against the crack. And this time, the glass gave way. It shattered, not in loud pieces, but in soft shining dust, floating in the air. The girl slowly fell forward. Eli caught her. Her body was light. Too light. Her skin was warm. She looked up at him with those silver eyes and whispered out loud, "This time, thank you." Eli stood there, holding her. As the station lights flickered again, a deep alarm sound echoed in the distance. Too late. Someone or something now knew she was free, and they were coming. The girl collapsed into Eli's arms like a falling feather. For a second, everything was quiet. Then a low rumble. Lights across the station flickered. A red alarm light began to spin in the ceiling corner. No sirens, just the cold, red light. The girl looked up at him. Her voice returned inside his head. They know. Who's they? Eli whispered. The ones who locked me here. He felt her shake in his arms, not from fear, but from weakness. She had been inside that glass for who knew how long. Eli picked her up. We're getting out. He turned and ran out. The door behind him slid halfway, then jammed. He kicked it hard. It opened just enough to squeeze through. He hurried back down the hallway, the same path he came in. Only now, something was different. The lights weren't just flickering anymore. They were waking up. All around him, the dead station came, alive, humming, breathing. Eli ran faster. Behind him, metal footsteps echoed. He glanced back. Robots, 3 of them. Old, military design. Rusty, but dangerous. Long arms, red eyes. They moved like shadows. No sound, except their heavy steps. Eli ducked into a side hallway. He needed time. He set the girl down behind a metal crate. "Can you walk?" She nodded, slowly, trying to stand. He peeked out. The robots were scanning the corridor. He whispered, "Do you know how to stop them?" She touched the wall gently. It shook. Lights above the robots burst, raining sparks. One robot froze. Another turned toward the sparks, confused, but the third turned toward Eli's hallway. Eli grabbed the girl's hand. "We move. Now." They ran. The station groaned around them, like it didn't want to let her go. A blast door blocked their path. Eli pounded the control panel. Nothing. Dead. He looked at her. "Can you open it?" She placed her hand on the panel. Her skin lit up blue. Lines glowed from her fingers into the panel. The door opened halfway and jammed. Eli didn't wait. He pulled her through, squeezing tight. On the other side, he found an old maintenance pipe. No time to check the map. Just move. They crawled inside. Dark, cold, silent. The pipe led to a ladder, then to a cargo dock. His ship, the Sparrow, sat at the far end. He smiled for the first time. "There you are." She looked at it, confused. "It's small." Eli smirked. "It flies. That's all that matters." Suddenly, a crash behind them. One robot dropped from the ceiling, landing hard between them and the ship. It raised its arm. A pulse cannon charging. Eli threw himself in front of her. The cannon fired. A blue shield exploded in front of them, blocking the blast. Eli turned. The girl's eyes glowed. She stepped forward slowly, one hand raised. The robot aimed again. She whispered something. Eli didn't understand the words, but the robot froze, then sparked, then fell. Dead. Eli stared at her. "What did you do?" She didn't answer. She looked tired. Her nose was bleeding. He helped her up the ramp into the ship. The door closed behind them. Eli ran to the cockpit. The engines were cold. He slammed buttons, pulled levers. "Come on, baby, not now." The engines hummed, then roared to life. The station trembled as if it knew she was escaping. Eli lifted off. The ship turned toward the blackness of space. Behind them, the station released a final signal. A pulse wave of red light spreading across the stars. Eli didn't see it, but she did. She stared out the window. Quiet. He looked at her. "Okay." She nodded barely. He handed her a blanket. "We'll figure it out. I promise." She looked at him, really looked. "Why did you help me?" He shrugged. Felt like the right thing to do. She didn't reply. She looked out again. A long silence. She whispered, "My name is Lyra." Eli smiled. "I'm Eli." He reached toward the console, checking systems. Fuel low. Weapons. None. Shields. Weak. But they were alive. Lyra leaned back in her seat, closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, felt free. Then her eyes snapped, open. Far out in space. Something moved. She saw a small dot glowing red. Not a ship, a signal dot. A hunter. She turned to Eli. "They're coming." Eli stared at the ship's control screen. Red lights flashed warning. Low fuel, unknown signal detected, shields weak. He sighed. Not a good day. Behind him, Lyra sat quietly, wrapped in a blanket. Her silver eyes stared at nothing. Her lips moved slightly, whispering to herself in a language Eli didn't know. He turned to her. "Hey, you all right?" She didn't look at him. "They will find us. Not if I find a place to hide first." Lyra shook her head slowly. "They always find me." Eli leaned forward. "Okay, time out. What are you, Lyra?" She looked at him, her face blank. "I was made." "Made? You mean like born in a lab?" She nodded. "Project ECHO. Earth Colony Human Optimization." Eli blinked. "Wait, you're not human." "I am part human," she said. "But they changed me, improved me. They said I would be the future." Eli walked closer, confused. "You're a weapon." She paused. "I was designed to be one." He looked down at her arms. Glowing blue lines moved slowly beneath her skin. Lyra spoke again. "They gave me things. Strength, speed, mind speech, healing. But I didn't want war. I just wanted to be a girl. Eli sat across from her. Then why lock you in a glass box? Lyra closed her eyes. Because I asked too many questions. Because I stopped obeying because I was scared. He waited in silence. I saw things, others like me. Some were broken. Some didn't survive the upgrades. When I said no, they shut me down. Her voice shook. I remember pain. Then silence. Then years of nothing. Until you came. Eli rubbed his face. Well, damn. Lyra stood slowly, her legs still weak. Your ship, it's dying. Yeah, I noticed. She walked to the console. Her hand hovered over the engine screen. The lights on the panel flickered, then stabilized. Eli raised his eyebrows. Did you just fix my ship? I shared power. You what? Lyra looked at him. My body stores energy. I gave some to the system, but it won't last. Eli shook his head. You're full of surprises. She turned to him. I need answers. If I find the other sites, maybe I'll know who I am. There are others. She nodded. Many. I saw maps, labs, colonies. Earth wasn't the only one building weapons like me. Eli thought for a second. All right. Then we need someone who knows secrets. He pressed a button on the console. A small screen lit up with an old contact name. Doc Venn. Lyra tilted her head. Who is that? An old rebel doctor. Used to fight against government labs. If anyone knows what Echo did to you, it's him. Can we trust him? Eli smirked. No, but he owes me. Lyra looked at him. Why are you helping me? Eli hesitated. Because I don't like cages. And you didn't ask to be what they made you. She studied his face, as if reading something deeper. Then the ship shook. An alarm screamed. Eli jumped. What now? The screen blinked. Tracker signal locked. Pursuer incoming. Lyra's voice turned sharp. It's not a ship. It's a seeker probe. Fast. No weapons. Just eyes. And a signal to call others. Eli cursed. We need to lose it. Lyra placed her hand on the ship wall. I can mask us. For a short time. How? She didn't answer. Her eyes glowed brighter. Energy flowed from her into the ship's walls. The lights dimmed. The engines went silent. The ship vanished from scanners. Outside, the seeker probe zoomed past, missing them by meters. Inside, Eli held his breath. Then the lights returned. Lyra collapsed. Eli rushed to her. Hey, stay with me. She opened her eyes slowly. Too much energy. He carried her to the back of the ship and laid her on a small bed. You need rest. She grabbed his arm, her voice barely a whisper. I am not machine, not human. I don't know what I am. Eli looked at her with a strange kind of respect. You're Lyra. That's enough for now. She smiled faintly, then closed her eyes. Eli sat beside her, guarding her like a soldier would guard a flame in a storm. Out in space, the seeker probe sent its message. Somewhere far away, red eyes blinked to life, and a voice, cold and metallic, spoke. The subject is active. Initiate phase. The sky above the desert planet burned orange. Winds howled across the empty plains, lifting dust and ash into the air. Broken towers from a long-dead colony stood like skeletons in the distance. Eli's ship, the Sparrow, landed quietly behind a jagged hill. Its engines coughed, then went silent. Inside, Lyra sat with her back against the wall, eyes half closed. Her skin still glowed faintly blue, the lines under it pulsing like slow heartbeats. Eli walked over with a small metal cup. Here, it's not food, but it's warm. She looked at it. What is it? Some kind of soup. Probably fake. Still tastes like metal. Lyra took it. Thank you. Eli sat beside her, pulling off his gloves. We're on a junk planet called Resis 4. No cities. No law. Just shadows. We'll hide here for a bit. Lyra stared out the ship's window. They'll come. Let them try, Eli muttered. We're not giving up. Far above the planet, in orbit, something arrived. It was not loud. It did not shine. A sleek black ship, silent as a thought, emerged from warp dot inside. 3 figures stood in the dark dot. Hunters. The leader, tall and armored in gray steel, stepped forward. His face was hidden behind a mask. Only his voice carried, "Wait, she's alive," he said. The signal confirms it. The second, a woman with cybernetic eyes, smiled coldly. And the human, Eli the third, a massive man with mechanical arms, loaded his plasma rifle. We kill him. Bring the girl back. The leader nodded. No mercy, no delay. Their ship turned toward the planet. Back on the surface, Eli adjusted. A broken radio tower. Static filled the air. Come on, Doc. Answer me. Suddenly, a voice crackled through. Eli, is that really you? Eli grinned. Still alive, old man. You shouldn't be calling me. I told you, I'm retired. I've got someone with me. She's not normal. There was silence. Then the voice asked, from Project Echo. Eli looked back at Lyra. Yeah, the doctor sighed. You just painted a target on your back. Meet me at grid 9. I'll help you. Once. The signal cut. Eli turned to Lyra. We've got a lead. She nodded, but her expression was distant. Something wrong? He asked. I felt them, she whispered. The hunters. They've landed. Eli grabbed his blaster. Then we move. Now. They left the ship and crossed the wasteland on foot. The planet was dry, cracked, and quiet. Too quiet. After an hour, they reached the ruins of an old mining base. Twisted metal and fallen towers surrounded them. Suddenly, Lyra stopped. Eli turned. What is it? She raised her hand. Someone's watching. Before he could speak, a red laser dot appeared on his chest. Down, Lyra shouted. A blast hit the ground, where Eli had stood a second earlier. They ran above them. The bounty hunters moved like ghosts through the ruins. Fast, precise, silent. The cyber-eyed woman whispered into her mic. Target confirmed. Human, is armed. Subject is awake. The leader responded. Separate them. Capture the girl. Lyra and Eli ducked into a collapsed tunnel. The air was thick with dust. Eli checked his weapon. 2 shots left. Great. Lyra placed her fingers on the wall. I can slow them. Her eyes flashed out above. The hunter's tech began to glitch. Vision blurred. Scanners failed. EMP pulse. The woman muttered. She's adapting. The leader growled. Close in. Now. In the tunnel, Lyra leaned against the wall, weak again. I can't stop all 3. Eli helped her up. Then we run. Just a bit farther. They exited the tunnel into an open crater, and froze. The third hunter, the giant with mechanical arms, stood waiting. You ran well, he said, voice like thunder. Now give her up. Eli raised his weapon. Come and take her. The hunter laughed. I was hoping you'd say that. He charged. Eli fired once, twice. The shots hit the hunter's armor, but didn't slow him. Then Lyra stepped forward. Her hands glowed. She didn't speak. She didn't scream. She simply moved. A pulse of blue energy exploded from her body. The hunter flew back, crashing into a metal wall. Sparks flying. Eli stared. You're getting stronger. Lyra's hands shook. But I'm losing control. From above, the other 2 hunters dropped down. Eli grabbed Lyra. This way. They dove into an underground shaft, just as plasma fire rained down. They slid into darkness. Above. The hunter leader stared into the shadows. Let them run. They'll be easier to catch when they're tired. The underground shaft smelled of rust and time. Eli lit a small flare. Its soft orange glow revealed walls lined with old cables and broken monitors. This place had once been a control room. Now, it was just bones. Lyra sat against the wall, silent. Her skin no longer glowed. Her breath came shallow. Eli knelt beside her. You saved us again. She didn't answer. Lyra, her voice was faint. I'm fading. Eli looked around. We need shelter. Food. Something. Lyra shook her head slowly. No. What I need is the truth. Eli stared at her. She placed her hand on her chest. There are things inside me. Locked. Sealed by the people who made me. I feel them. Like shadows behind a door. You want to open it? She nodded. It's the only way I'll survive what's coming. Eli hesitated. And if what's behind that door isn't safe? Lyra looked into his eyes. Would you still stay? He didn't blink. Yes. She smiled barely. Then she closed her eyes. Eli watched as her body stilled. Her breath slowed. And then, the glow returned. Not soft this time, but sharp and blue. It pulsed from her skin into the ground. The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights on old machines flickered to life. Inside Lyra's mind, something was opening. A white room. Bright, clean, cold. She stood in the center, barefoot, dressed in white. All around her, floating screens. Flashes of memory. Voices. Subject, ECH07. Unstable. Shut her down. Reboot memory. We gave her too much. Pulled the plug. Lyra turned slowly. She saw herself younger, afraid, crying as men in suits stood behind glass. Then another screen appeared. Eli's face. But it was Blurry, she heard his voice. You didn't ask to be what they made you. The memory faded. Then. Darkness. And one door. Black. Breathing. Lyra walked toward it. Her hands shook. She reached out and opened it. Outside, Eli watched her body twitch once, then go still again. Her glow vanished. Lyra, he whispered. Suddenly, her eyes snapped open, but they were no longer silver. They were white, glowing, bright as stars. She sat up slowly. Lyra, she looked at him. Her voice was different, calm, powerful. I remember everything. Eli stepped back. What do you mean? My full designation. Experimental host organism. 7. I was the first to survive full genetic fusion. With what? She looked at him. Alien code. Recovered from deep space. They used it to enhance me. Eli's mouth went dry. Your part. Alien, she nodded. The others failed. They died, or turned violent. I was the only one who lived. He sat down beside her. Why would they do this? To build the perfect protector, or the perfect weapon. Depends on who's asking. And why did they erase your memory? Because I was too strong, she said, voice trembling now. They couldn't control me. So they broke me, hid me. Eli leaned forward. But, you're awake now, she looked at him. I'm not sure that's a good thing. Outside the shaft, the wind howled. The hunters were still searching. Getting closer. Eli stood. We need to keep moving. Lyra didn't move. I saw something else, she said quietly. He paused. There was a second name, buried under mine. Eli frowned. A second subject. No. A second identity. Another part of me. They tried to split my mind in two. One for control, one for chaos. Eli's eyes narrowed. Which one are you now? Lyra looked up at him. Scared. I don't know. Suddenly, the ground shook. An explosion rocked the ruins above them. Dust rained down from the ceiling. They found us, Eli said. He pulled Lyra to her feet. Her eyes flickered back to silver, but a faint white glow still lingered beneath. They climbed a broken ladder to the surface. The sky was dark now. The hunters stood at the crater's edge. 3 shadows against the stars. The leader raised his hand. Lyra of Echo, you are property of Earth Defense Lab 14. Surrender, and you will not be harmed. Lyra stepped forward. No, she said. I am not property. I am not a weapon. I am not yours. The wind stirred her hair. The cyber-eyed woman aimed a rifle. You're malfunctioning. Eli stepped beside Lyra. She's more human than any of you. The large hunter cracked his knuckles. Then she can die like one. Lyra raised her hands. The air shimmered. Her voice was steady. I opened the door. You should not have followed me. A pulse of light burst from her chest. Not violent, not loud, just powerful. The hunters froze, blinded for a moment. Eli grabbed her hand. Now, they vanished into the storm that the hunters gave chase. But something had changed. Now, Lyra wasn't running just to survive. She was running toward something. Toward herself. The night sky split open. Above the desert, clouds boiled into strange shapes, blue lightning flashing without sound. The ground pulsed like a slow heartbeat, and every metal object hummed with unseen power. At the center of it all stood Lyra. Still, calm, glowing. Her feet hovered inches above the cracked soil. Her eyes, now bright white, looked not at the hunters but through them. Eli stood a few steps behind her. His mouth was dry, his hand on his blaster, but deep down, he knew it wouldn't help. Something had changed. Lyra was no longer running. She was becoming. The hunter leader stepped forward. Stand down. Subject 7. You are activating restricted systems. Lyra's voice echoed not just in the air, but inside their heads. Soft, mechanical, ancient. I remember who I was, and what I was built to do. The cyber-eyed woman raised her rifle. Then let's end this. She fired. The blast never reached Lyra. It froze midair, held in place, like a bubble of light, then crumpled into dust. Lyra raised one hand. The hunters lifted into the air, screaming as their weapons flew from their hands. The ground beneath them cracked open, not from heat. From force, pure energy pressing against reality like a fist against glass. Eli stepped forward. Lyra, you don't have to do this. She turned slightly, her voice colder now. They locked me away. They broke me. They hunted me. This is justice. No, Eli said, louder now. This is revenge. She paused, toward her floating stot. Her feet touched the ground again. The glow around her flickered. The moment broke. The hunters fell to the ground, coughing, shaking. Alive but defeated. Lyra blinked. Her voice softened. I almost lost myself. Eli walked to her. He pulled back. That means you haven't. She looked at him, her eyes slowly fading from white to silver. Part of me wanted to kill them, she whispered. It felt easy. That's not weakness, Eli said. That's choice. That's what makes you human. The wind quieted. The sky cleared. But far above, in orbit, another ship arrived. This one was different. No markings. No light. A perfect black triangle that cast no shadow dot inside. A man in a white coat watched the screen. She's active, he whispered. Another voice behind him responded. Initiate the override. The man hesitated. She broke the first cage. If we push her now, do it, the voice growled. She was never meant to choose. Back on the surface, Lyra clutched her head. No, what is it? Eli asked. Her voice trembled. They're trying to take control again. Her legs gave out. She collapsed into the sand. Eli caught her. Fight it. You're stronger than them. She shook violently. Visions flashed in her mind. Wires. Needles. Endless tests. Commands shouted through speakers. Obey. Eliminate. Forget. Her body began to glow again, brighter than before. Too bright, Lyra, Eli shouted. She looked at him, eyes full of pain. Get away from me. No. She grabbed his shirt, her hands burning hot. I can't. Hold it this time. Eli pulled her close. Then don't do it alone. The words hit something deep. For the first time, Lyra didn't fight the pain. She accepted it, and with it came clarity. In her mind, she saw a door bigger than before, locked with chains. She reached out, and instead of forcing it open, she understood it. The door opened gently, and inside wasn't a weapon. It was a voice, small, young. Help me, it said. It was her, the part of her that never wanted to hurt anyone. The child hidden beneath code and power. Lyra whispered, I remember you. Back in the real world. The light dimmed. Her body stopped shaking. She looked up at Eli, breathless but calm. It's over. I stopped them. He held her tighter. You did it. She leaned her head against his shoulder. I'm still me. He smiled. Yeah, you are. Suddenly, a distant sound rumbled, rockets descending from the sky. Eli looked up. Reinforcements. No, Lyra said. Not soldiers, scientists. Worse, he muttered. From the clouds, black dropships landed all around them. Men in white coats stepped out. Behind them, robotic enforcers, all armed. One scientist spoke into a speaker. This is not an attack. Lyra, we're here to recover you peacefully. Come home. You're sick. You need help. Lyra stood. She looked at Eli. He nodded. Your choice. She turned to the crowd. No more cages. She raised her hands. But this time, the energy didn't flare wildly. It moved with control, purpose. With a simple gesture, she created a shield between them and the attackers, a wall of light. We're leaving, she said. Eli grabbed her hand. They walked away through the storm of wind and sand, vanishing into the desert horizon. Behind them, the scientists didn't follow. They had seen what she had become. Not a weapon, not a machine, but something more. Years later, children on faraway worlds would tell stories of her. A glowing girl who could stop bullets with a thought. A living light who once walked among them. They called her the Silent Star, the Ghost of Glass, and the girl who broke herself free. But before she became legend, she was just Lyra, and she was still learning how to live. The cave was hidden beneath black rock and glowing moss. Rain fell outside, soft and steady, tapping against the stone like a lullaby. Lyra stood near the entrance, staring out into the storm. Her long white coat swayed gently in the wind. Her eyes, once bright silver, now carried a softer glow. She no longer hovered or sparked. Her power had settled. Behind her, Eli prepared tea over a small camp stove. You've been quiet? He said. I've been listening. To what? She turned slightly. To myself. For the first time. There's no noise. No commands. No but voices in my head. Just me. Eli smiled. Peace looks good on you. She looked down at her hands. I'm still scared. Of what? That I'll lose control again. Eli poured tea into 2 small cups. Then I'll be here to remind you who you are. She walked over, sat beside him, and took the cup. Do you still think I'm human? He looked at her carefully. You think being human is about blood and bone. I don't know what it's about anymore. He took a sip. It's about choosing who you are. Even when the world tries to tell you. They sat in silence for a moment, the sound of rain filling the space between them. Then, a soft beep echoed from Eli's old wristdash. Come. He tapped it. A familiar voice came through. The doctor, it's done. The signal blocker's in place. They won't find you again unless you want them to. Lyra's fingers curled around her cup. I never want another cage. You won't have one, Eli said. Not while I'm breathing. She looked at him, the corner of her mouth lifting into a small smile. You're stubborn, he chuckled. Takes one to know one. Later that night, Lyra walked alone through the quiet forest beyond the cave. Soft blue plants lit her path. She stopped beside a still pond and stared at her reflection. No more glass walls, no more wires, just her. She knelt down and whispered to her own face in the water. You're not a weapon. Her reflection didn't argue. She closed her eyes, and in that moment, she felt whole. Somewhere far above the clouds, a meeting was taking place. Inside a sterile white room, the director of Project Echo paced before a panel of silent men. Women, she survived the reboot, he said. She stabilized her powers. We didn't predict that. One of the men asked, can she be reacquired? No, the director replied. Not by force. A woman spoke next. Then what do we do? The director paused. We wait, watch, and pray she never stops being human. Back on the forest floor, Eli and Lyra packed their supplies. She turned to him. Where to next? He shrugged. Anywhere with stars. She smiled. That's a big map. I like big maps. They climbed aboard a small scout ship, older than Eli liked to admit, but still functional. As the engines powered up, Lyra placed her hand on the console. Not to control it, but to feel it. I used to be the machine, she said. Now, I just want to ride one. Eli looked at her. You're allowed. As the ship lifted into the sky, clouds parted, revealing a field of stars above. Lyra watched them quietly. Eli leaned back in the pilot's seat. So, no more running. She shook her head. Not running. Exploring. He nodded. Good. There's a lot out there worth seeing. She turned to him, her voice soft. Do you think people like me belong in the universe? Eli didn't even hesitate. You don't just belong in it, Lyra, you make it better. She didn't answer, but her silence said everything. Later, as they moved through deep space, a child on a nearby colony pointed up at a strange blue comet, streaking the sky. Look, she cried. It's the Stargirl. Her mother smiled. That's just a story, honey. But the girl wasn't so sure. In the dark, some lights are too real to be made up. Final line, she was created to obey, trained to destroy and forgotten by her makers. But she chose her own path. She was more than glass, more than code, more than human. She was Lyra, and she was free.